Long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a minute. One thing's for sure. I think everybody can agree that fishing's usually pretty good in the winter. January or December, January, and February can be some pretty good months to fish if you don't mind the weather. It's cold, and if you got any kind of precipitation, it can be rough. But I think that it might be a myth that fish get real lethargic in the winter, and you have to. But I don't know. I think maybe it depends on it. Like, for example, Lake Norman's water temperature is 51, I think 52 maybe, and it's continually dropping. And by the time February 1st rolls around for the Hybrid Striped Bass Challenge, it's probably going to be in the low to mid 40s. Yeah. And I don't know how much.
Date? February the 3rd?
February the 1st.
Oh, the 1st.
I'm pretty sure it's the 1st. Yeah, whatever that Saturday is there.
That'll be the 2nd.
It's February the 1st. It's on a Saturday. Should be on a Saturday.
Yeah, February the 2nd. Unless I'm looking at the calendar wrong. February the 3rd, no.
That's on a Saturday.
Yes. It'll be February the 1st is on a Saturday.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, February 1st. That's when the tournament is.
All right. Well, let's see here.
So you got a lot of people catching fish right now.
Yeah.
But the water temp's in the 50s. Once the water temp's down into the 40s, are those fish going to be coming up and hitting A rigs, getting trolled at 1.8, 2.5 miles an hour? I think that's what the majority of the people do. And I think that you automatically assume that live bait fishing is going to be better. Live bait fishing should be where it's at when it's that cold. Maybe we should go to live bait and fish nice and slow. But a lot of times the live bait don't work either. You know what I think would work? Have you ever heard of dead sticking?
No.
Especially if somebody had live scope. I probably shouldn't even be saying this because it's probably going to give somebody some ideas, and it'll probably work. But if you had live scope, you could really stay on the fish. You could dead stick basically like you do crappie fishing in the wintertime, how you fish docks for crappie in the winter, how you go real slow. Like it takes like 6 seconds for a full reel turn, and you're working these little tiny, small profile jigs. Basically it's the same idea. That stems from ice fishing when water gets cold.
Daryl said it to you. He's backstage, JR.
Oh, okay. Let me bring him in here. I brought him in. All I'm seeing is a black screen though. But anyways, yeah, I think that as long as we don't get a bunch of rain, the water don't get real muddy, real dirty, as long as that water can stay pretty clear, then I think that we'll have I think last year and the year before that, I think the water might have been a little dirty. And I think that's really what hurts you in the wintertime. Once that water temp gets down into the 40s, if you couple that with dirty water, then that really can be some bad fishing.
Well, those fish like up in Chesapeake Bay, those fish don't seem to turn on until the water gets about 45 degrees.
Exactly.
You remember last time we were up there, it was that day the weather was so bad and we only wound up fishing half a day and got 7 fish.
Yes.
That water was 44 degrees that day.
Yes. So I told myself a long time ago, back when I used to go do that saltwater striper fishing, I told myself I'm not ever going to come back until that water temp hits 46 degrees. It seemed to me, from my experience, it seems like that is when, if it hadn't gotten to 46 yet, I wasn't going.
Oh, buddy, come here.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we got you. We're going to get Johnson a golden rule, JR. Y'all want to go in half and get Johnson a golden rule?
I saw in the Lake Norman fishing group that they bought a new golden rule. It's a bigger one.
Yeah, we won't need it.
Yeah, you ain't need that from the Lake Norman.
Are y'all going to fish it again this year, Daryl?
Yes.
All right, good deal.
Yeah, we're excited. We're probably gonna pre-fish some this year, I hope. So I saw your post, Wes, about, or JR, whichever, with the idea about bad weather fishing. So I talked to Joe Asher today. So you talking about a guy who's been, so he fished the snowstorm the past 2 days, pulling big U rigs, and they have just murdered the fish. I mean,
How
for
far
where,
you think you can go with an umbrella rig? Like as far, you know how in offshore fishing they'll use those big spreader bars most of the time just to bring fish in, not necessarily to catch them on it, but they got these huge contraptions. It looks like an umbrella rig, except it has way more arms than an umbrella rig.
well, I think he could pull off of that because they pull some huge, like those big headed teasers and all that stuff, that's got big, that pick up, you know what I'm talking about? They literally just churn the water. So I know there's got to be a lot of friction on that line where that clip's holding.
Mhm.
I've fished that way and I've never put an umbrella rig behind one. I'm not going to tell you I've done that, but I really think that if you had all that, the outriggers and however, they got to be using some. I'm sure they use lighter. There's got to be a lot of different grades of the clips, right? There are. You're
Yeah,
kind of like the catfishermen. They all want the red ones that don't turn loose, and
right.
we want the green Scotty clips. So I'm sure in that world there's some kind of clips that's like multi, and
Mhm.
I've even saw the ones which is kind of interesting to me. I got some old planer boards that have the clips on them where it's actually got a screw on it where you can adjust. Have you ever used those?
Yes,
I
that's
haven't.
some of the
So
first ones I've used.
do they work?
I didn't use them for very long. It was like the very first set I ever used had that type, and it seems like I didn't like them. I can't really
I'm
remember, but I don't think I liked them.
the concept I like though, you know what I mean? Being able
Mhm.
to, where a fish actually hit it hard enough that you wanted it took away, but it wouldn't come off. And let's say in the bay where at times you might be jumping 2 footers, right?
That's
But
right. Yeah,
the
nothing
green
sucks
ones,
worse than putting a board out and then it tripping prematurely.
right? The green ones do pretty good though. We pulled the crap out of them the past few weeks. So
If we could, hopefully the weather won't get bad. Hopefully we won't get a bunch of rain, and
I
hopefully we'll
keep
get some.
asking everybody what it's going to do up there. So, I mean, can y'all tell what do those fish do in February? Because I remember like 2, 3 years ago that like Clint on the show enough, he guided in like I know he said we're going to fish until we just quit catching, and I know he guided to like the first week of March, I think.
Yeah,
And I mean, it's like
I mean
somebody.
they still feed. Obviously they still feed because in tournaments, there's always people weighing in fish. But the problem with the hybrids on Norman is we'll have 50 boats in a tournament and only 10 boats show up with a fish, with a keeper. So they're, that whole analogy, they're always biting somewhere. That isn't necessarily true when you only got 10 boats showing up to the weigh-in with a fish, and out of those 10 boats, only 2 of them, 1 or 2 have a limit. The rest only
No,
brought 1 fish.
yourself. Last week it was. I mean, last year was horrible. I mean, that was
It
a
was.
horrible bite. We caught like a dozen fish at the end of the day just because we found some. And as you know, as it come out, we were close to keeper fish, but we
Right,
weren't.
right, yeah.
They
And
were. They
I
were.
think a lot of people were
We
catching
busted.
fish,
I
but
think
they
we caught like
weren't quite keepers.
10 fish in the last 2 hours, but none of them was good ones.
Right, exactly. I think me and Spivey caught 9 fish, and yeah, they were all good fish, like 19, 19 and a half, 19 and 3/4. Maybe a lot of those fish, they'll be keepers this year. Maybe, I don't know. But those fish, this is a rough time to have a tournament. The first week of February is probably the coldest part of the year. That's
I
the
would say
fish
for
are
Lake Norman, it used to be January, but now I feel like you're right because look at it now. We're just now getting really we're staying. I mean, we're gonna have a week at my house below 32 degrees,
mhm. Yeah, and
which
this
we
is
haven't had in 2 or 3 years. So
this cold snap is lasting a long time. It doesn't look like it's letting up either. It would be nice if we would get a little warm front, right around tournament time. That get some
And
cloud
all
cover.
the weather prediction this year for El Nino. What's the opposite of El Nino? The other one, the South. We were supposed to have one of the mildest winters in history, and look at this shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Copper.
Hopefully
Yeah,
we get.
I would, but when I was talking about bad weather, it seemed like every year up here for the last 5 years that I can remember, weather goes to hell. When the Striped Bass Challenge comes to town, the weather goes to shit. It's did it for the last 5 years.
If we could maintain clear water, as long as the water doesn't get cloudy, if we can maintain clear water, if we could get a front, get some cloud cover, hopefully it would be ideal if the cloud cover would move in the day of the tournament.
No, Joe, I'm talking about the Striped Bass Challenge here at Hartwell.
Yeah, it's the Striped Bass Challenge. Yeah, you're right. Every year it's super windy. It's always some kind of front comes in. It's miserable out there. The year I fished it, man, it was like 30-mile-an-hour sustained winds. It was ridiculous.
Saturday morning, I think I've talked to 2 people. They said they were probably going to put their boat in and try to stay on the boat Friday night, so they'll be able to, because they can put all the salt they want to on them ramps, but that ain't gonna help people get to a ramp. Mm-hmm. We're talking about 4 inches of snow here, and if we don't get no ice, if it's just snow, 4 inches of snow, freezing, it's gonna ice over, pulling a boat.
Yeah.
Do you think if you get 4 inches of snow, they won't call it? I mean, I read the post, but
no, they're not gonna call nothing because
it sounded like to me they weren't either.
So
I talked to one guy. He's got the money too. You know what I'm talking about, that owns a place up in Virginia. He said he'd helicopter his in. He would be there. He's like, they done said all that shit about they gonna have it. They better have it. I was like,
wow. You guys are talking about the Striped Bass Challenge? They're having it this weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Saturday.
Okay.
But I think the thing is, and I know everybody says, well, everybody's grown, they can choose what they want to do. But when it comes to fishing, a lot of times we don't make good decisions.
Sometimes the only thing I don't like about that, Wes, is the fact that this one, it used to be a month you had to pay in advance. Now I think it's at least 2 weeks. And I mean, nobody would have got in a tournament that's going to have 4 inches of snow on the ramp, right?
No.
I mean, I guess it's like boo-hoo, but I mean, and I just think all those tournaments, they'd let you sign up the day of. And I know that's hard for them to plan around and all that. But just think about if the weather turns nice, like it does for the hybrid thing, JR can tell you, you know this, our turnout at that thing, or the turnout for the hybrid thing, it's going to be based on weather. I mean, if it does that, we'll have 20 boats. If it turns out to be 50 degrees, we'll have 40 or 50 or 60 maybe. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's some people just aren't going to fish in it. I mean, and I get it.
Well, I'm saying though is it's like there's sometimes we as children, and I'm gonna compare it to some fishermen as children, me being one of them. We have to have some adult supervision and have an adult to say, hey, you can't do this, it's dangerous. And this is just my opinion. If I was running this tournament and I knew that kind of weather's coming in here, I would postpone it. Main reason, safety. Because something happens, somebody's going to get hurt, somebody's going to break down, people's going to be bitching and crying because they run their fucking boat in the ditch with a truck. There's no adulting here. There again.
Well, we all know
make their own decisions. But what I'm saying is, to me, if it was my tournament, I'd say let's call it off, reschedule it for as soon as possible, and get more people to fish it. But I think the way they're looking at it, they've already got so many entered, they've got their money. So if they call this tournament off, then they have to start refunding all this money. Unless they say, hey, we're going to reschedule it. Then people go say, well, you're scheduling on a date. I couldn't do it. So
the only thing I say in their defense is they run a really, really good tournament trail. Yeah. And the night before and all that stuff, there's big money and big planning put into that. You know what I mean? They got that event hall. They got all that stuff planned. It's not like just pulling out of a coffee can tournament. You know what I mean? They do a good job of that. All that raffling and all that stuff and having all that stuff there. Somebody has to haul all those prizes that they give away for 2 hours, to get them there, right?
But it ain't going to take but one person to get hurt.
Oh, no, I fully understand what you're saying.
And we're talking about bad weather. We're not talking about flurries or, maybe a third of an inch or half. We're talking about 4 inches of snow. And you're going to have a bunch of fucking rednecks trying to pull these big ass boats down the Hartwell Lake.
Other businesses are open. Like, this is a business, and other Western Sizzling Steakhouse, you know, they might be open. There's a lot of businesses that are open, and you know, you just have to. We're adults.
Is people going to be trying to get to these businesses at 4:30, 3:30 in the morning with 4 inches of frozen snow on the ground pulling a boat? Come on now, I'm trying to be realistic here.
What JR is saying though is other than a Western Sizzle, let's say whoever your favorite rock star or country star is coming to town, they're not going to cancel that.
Yeah.
If you make it, you make it. If
and
you don't, you don't.
Look at it this way.
All kind of big events canceled on account of bad weather.
Look at it this way. You're actually safer pulling a boat. You got weight on your drive axle with, you know,
what about stopping it though?
You have a longer wheelbase. I mean,
yeah, JR, but we've all watched everybody put it on a wet ramp, much less a frozen ramp. Yeah. Come on. That'll be a
I'm just playing devil's advocate here, but I mean, at the end of the day, we are all adults. We
but there again, sometimes I'm an adult, but sometimes my wife has to do some more bigger adulting, you know.
And let's face it, fishing in the winter is dangerous anyway.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I say, I mean, if it was just me, I'm not down in the tournament, you know, them's grown ass men. And at the end of the day, everybody's got to make their own decision. But I wouldn't care if it's $100,000. I would not be trying to pull no boat at 5 o'clock in the morning to fish no fucking tournament.
Well, playing devil's advocate too, you did register. I'm not in it, but you did register for a tournament in January. Yeah. It is South Carolina. You can't expect it. Yep. You know what I mean? The chances of it being beautiful is a lot. We got just as much chance of it being what it is as it is being nice, right?
Well, I don't remember if it was last year or year before last. They had 28-mile-an-hour sustained winds all day and some gusts up to 40. And everybody couldn't even fish where they wanted. Everybody was trying to get in the back of a cove just so they could keep a line out in the water. I mean, fuck January fishing. They ain't doing it for any amount of money. But we'll see how they're gonna have it. We'll see how it goes. And another thing, the captain's meeting, that storm's supposed to be here tomorrow. It'll probably get to Anderson maybe 30 or 45 minutes before us. At that captain's meeting tomorrow, 5:30, 6 o'clock, that snow's gonna be slamming. Right here is what they're telling us. The blunt of it's coming in between 5 and 10 o'clock tomorrow night. After that captain's meeting's over, it's gonna be brutal out there. So
I was going to ask you, what does it look like Friday morning? Am I good? You know what I got going on Friday morning?
Yeah, you good, buddy. Yeah, you'll be good.
I'm coming out of here like ultra early, like 4 a.m., I hope.
You'll be perfect. It's not supposed to start here, from what I'm seeing, until about 11 or 12 o'clock. And then by about 2 o'clock, it's really going to start. And what they're saying for this area, you coming up 85, when that snow hits the ground, it's going to stick. As cold as it's been here in Greenville, Anderson, Spartanburg, when it hits, it's going to stick.
Hey, Daryl, I know you bring us some bait. Bring me some bait. I'll cash app you.
I'm coming out of Georgia, so I don't.
He's coming out of ATL.
Don't be feeding me no bullshit.
No, that's where I'm at now. I see my nice, lovely hotel room I'm in.
Well, yeah, I'm not talking about for the striped bass challenge. I'm talking about the hybrid striped bass challenge you're getting in.
Oh yeah, I got you some candy there, baby.
Yeah. So I know what y'all talking about. That you wrong for that, Daryl.
Yeah, we'll have some candy.
You got some of them big A's?
I mean, we'll probably just get what's there. Hopefully they're big. I mean,
big ones for hybrids.
Small ones, don't you?
Last year, to be honest, we got the best ones right during the tournament, during the middle of the day.
Peter Malik, I talked to him Monday. I see he's watching. We was talking about doing a show. He said, yeah. And I said, well, you want to do it Tuesday? He said, no, Wednesday would be better for me. I said, okay, we'll do it Wednesday at 8 o'clock. I called him tonight. He acted like he didn't have a damn clue what I was talking about.
Hey, there's Russell.
There's your sign. What's up, Russell Brown?
What's your plan? First. What's your plan, JR? You doing a hybrid pull? You doing a little bit of we're gonna be live baiting. I'll just go ahead and disclose.
Yeah, I know that. I'm gonna be fishing with Spivey, and we're gonna try to do whatever works. You know,
we tried the artificial last year for like the first 2 hours because we really thought that would cover water and do it. But we don't know what we're doing. And Anthony can say whatever he wants. He knows everything about everything. But we know how to live bait fish. So if I got anything to do with it, then we're just going to do that right off the rip because I mean he's going to tell you, oh, I can pull this and that, but we don't know how deep that crap runs. I don't get. I mean, unless we get out there and have some luck with it, we are talking about practice in a couple days. So
Yeah. Does he have a
that'll
downrigger?
probably end up being one day, to be honest. You know, I'm being realistic. I hope to get in 2 days of practice, but it'll probably be one. That you know, I know who I'm dealing with. And I don't mean that mean. It's just it is what it is. We all got
Wes,
to work.
you ought to come down and get in it, Wes.
He said he's coming to the weigh-in again. So
Yeah, I'm gonna be the weighmaster again.
I mean, you might as well pull the Carolina skiff down here and get in it.
Dude, I don't know nothing about that lake and ain't got nobody to fish with.
You do it the same way you do Hartwell, or not Hartwell, where you catch those hybrids. What's it called? The river.
Oh.
Greenwood.
No, the river where you go and catch hybrids, Wes.
What river?
Where you and I went, and you took Lori, and you
Same thing.
same thing.
I don't know. I ain't got nobody to fish with. Same about
I saw a video. Johnson's got us a big diesel heater in that rig. So
I think about just getting Ryan Spivey to fish with me.
That's my partner.
Depends on how much money you got.
I'm on the scout with him. He don't care about no money.
Shit. Does he still work for a living?
Yeah, he does.
Okay, he cares about money.
I did see. Is Benji coming? I'm assuming. I did see he got second last week. That was cool. I like Benji.
I talked to Benji yesterday. I didn't even think to ask him.
He got second.
He got second. I saw.
In what?
The Lake Hartwell.
What? Some kind of tournament or?
Yeah, they had Lake Hartwell tournament last weekend. Dang, JR, where you been in the woods?
I mean, what is it? A striper tournament?
Yeah, they had the Lake Hartwell. Skipper won it, and it looked like Striper Mechanic was Timber Kings and then Striper Mechanic. That's BG, isn't it?
But that's not the SBC though, right?
That's the Lake Hartwell Outdoor Center. They did that last.
Oh, the LHOC. Okay.
I mean, but I think it was either $3,000 or $4,000 for first place.
Hell yeah! Congratulations.
I'm pretty sure I saw Striper Mechanics as number 2.
Heck yeah! Finished in the money.
And Timber Kings won it.
Who was Timber Kings?
That's Skipper.
Oh, that's Daniel Skipper.
Yeah.
Daniel Skipper, Brady Milford, but Daniel didn't fish it with Brady this time. Daniel fished it with Bobby Parker.
Oh, so he brought a ringer. Oh, it don't count, man.
Dang.
Hey, buddy.
I mean, I think that's 2 ringers, right? I don't really know how you beat Skipper in South Carolina.
Skipper ain't no daggum ringer.
Skipper ain't no ringer. Skipper's lucky.
He wins a lot. He's got a lot of luck with him, man.
Hey, Daryl. You know how you're good at your job because you do it every fucking day?
I hope so.
Anybody that fishes every day, if they're not good at it, something's wrong.
Yeah, but there's a lot of them that fish every day that ain't any good. I hate to say that, but there is some of that out there too, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, this tournament's going to be interesting. I'd even like to go to the weigh-in. I'm just worried about getting down there to that weigh-in because I think that temperature's supposed to start dropping again about 3 o'clock. And when them roads freeze up and ice up, they said they're going to take care of Green Pond and the ramps. What about when you get out of Green Pond? Because some of these guys are driving a long way.
Well, you
got to pick and choose your battles.
You do. Like I said, you got to know that you kind of, I mean, when you really think about it, when you sign up for a tournament in January, you're taking the risk, right?
Yeah, that's a fact.
I mean, that's part of it. I mean, that's
when you're sitting in a ditch jackleg, or you slide into somebody and do a bunch of damage, or somebody slides into you and tears your boat all to hell. The first thing you're thinking is, "Damn, I should have knew better."
Yeah, I mean, this will be the first year in a while I hadn't fished it, so. But
it's kind of like when you go to take a piss and you're too lazy to raise the damn lid, so you try to pinch it off a little bit, keep it in the middle of the toilet, but then you lose a little bit of back pressure and you hit the lid anyway, and you're like, "Damn, why didn't I just take the time to raise the lid up? Now I got to wipe it off."
You're old, Wes.
Same scenario. No, I'm not old. I got me a heated toilet seat now with a big ass light in it, so I can piss in the dark and not miss it.
That's living proof that you're old, that you got that heated seat, brother, and that you got money. So that's kind of a combo there.
You seen where I live yesterday. I ain't got no money.
Oh crap.
JR, tell us.
So what I was asking y'all,
money.
I know y'all talking about nasty weather, but what does this fish in the bay? Have either one of y'all fished like February in the bay? We're wanting to go back, and I don't know what they do.
Last year they were catching fish up until the last week in February or first couple of days of March. Some people.
I knew year before last I heard about some fish being caught, but last year I didn't.
Yeah, they did. They caught some last year all the way up until about probably the first couple of days of March. But it depends on the water.
I was telling the guy that I fish with, though, and I mean, I try to be a realist about. I said, you know how we got our own, I want to call it a clique or whatever, like 7 or 8 boats that, we all communicate with. I said, inside of the bay, there's got to be 100 different cliques just like that. You know what I mean? That's a big, 27 miles long. That's a lot of water.
I don't know about the bay, but, I used to fish for them in the ocean back when they were still in the ocean, when you can get them out to 3 miles. And when they were out there, I would go in February every year, but we'd usually go down to Oregon Inlet. That'd be that far south come February.
But that's what I'm saying. When we were out there, when they were standing the 3 mile line, it used to be you could only target fish. Tell me if I'm right, Joe. You could only keep fish in the bay till the 31st, and then you had to go to the ocean, right, to keep. Wasn't that how it was?
You're saying you weren't even allowed to target them?
No. I think you could keep them in the bay, but then after January 1st, you had to go to the ocean to be able to keep your 2 fish, right? I think that's how it was. I'm pretty sure that was the rules when, like 10, 11, and 12, you and I were fishing. We weren't fishing together, but we fished those same years.
I thought it was January 1st for everything. Maybe you're right. Maybe it was just the bay.
I think you had to get out of the bay to keep on the 31st. Or something like it was some kind of wacky rule.
You could keep one fish up until the 31st. After January 1st, you can't keep nothing in Chesapeake Bay. But I don't know what the size limit was on that one fish, if there was one.
Well, I mean, 10, 11, 12, what we were talking about in the ocean, you could keep 2 and you could keep any size. I mean, it had to be a minimum, but there wasn't a maximum.
Yeah. What was the minimum?
There was no slot.
33 inches or something.
Maybe 32.
Well, there was a thing on the 3 mile offshore thing was you couldn't target them.
No, you couldn't. You couldn't even target them outside of 3 miles.
Yeah. Well, how do you know where 3 mile
outside of outside the 3 mile? You better not have any fish, and they didn't want you fishing. I knew guys who went out there and catch and release, but they would definitely. If I was always told, as JR knows it's true, they flew a plane the whole time you were up there. They were taking photos of every boat, and the boats that they caught outside of that line, you were definitely getting checked. I was always
from my experience.
3 mile mark out. How do you know where you're at 3 miles? Is it something you have to measure on your depth finder?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So most of the depth finders, you can set it; it'll show you. But when you're out there west, we were in a whole line most of the time. You're following like used to be the fleet. I was out there one year in 250 boats. I mean, literally line from end to end.
Wall of boats.
Let's say the first 100 boats caught all 30 pounders. The next set of boats may catch 40s, and then you had another set of boats. Because I remember the first year I went in, I literally went in beating my chest because we caught a 50, and everything else was in the 30s. We had 22 fish. I hate to even say that. But I'm rolling my wheelbar up at Rudy Inlet going, look what we got. And the guys that were in front of me all had all 40 pounders. And there was another group, like 3 or 4 wheelbars up, that had a bunch of 50s. And I was like, dang. And I thought I'd really, that did something. But we
wonder what happened to the fish.
Yeah, that's true. That's the reason I say that.
But I don't think so. The water temp just, it doesn't get cold enough.
Well,
it's not getting cold enough out there.
JR, how cold does it need to be? I've seen the Chesapeake Bay at 42 degrees.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think the ocean is. They're still coming down. They're just staying beyond 3 miles.
But when them trawlers come in there, they took more fish in one day and destroyed them in 2012 than every recreational fisherman had taken that year. I guarantee you. Remember that, JR, the Oregon Inlet Massacre?
Oh yeah. And thank God they finally put regulations on that.
Yeah.
Made them start keeping everything.
I personally believe those fish stay there until the menhaden start pulling out and they follow that bait. I could be wrong, but I believe when the bait leaves, the fish leaves. It's just like, if you're in a house and you run out of food, you're going to leave that house. I mean, you're going to go find food. I think those fish leave when the bait leaves. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
So this is the part I don't understand. This is what I wanted to ask. So I get all that, but the fish are going in there to spawn. So why aren't all those fish up in one of those rivers where we could go catch them all at some time or another? And doesn't that usually happen in March or April?
No, those fish, they're coming through there to spawn. They don't actually spawn in the Chesapeake Bay. Chuck told me that years ago.
I know that, but where do they go to spawn? Up
They
the
go,
Rappahannock?
up the Rappahannock in the Delaware River.
So when do they do that?
They're probably up there in about March, middle of March.
So you're telling me they leave out of the bay and then go
Yes.
back through the bay and go back up?
Yep.
Really?
That's what he told me. Yep.
Yep. I figured if anybody, they had trackers, but I just assumed they sent the bay and maybe they went dormant or something, or just didn't. You catch a few. I didn't know.
No, Chuck now put those tags on them for years with gray tag. Yeah, they said those fish, they go up the Rappahannock and the Delaware River. And well, there's a bunch of tributaries up there. There's a bunch of tributaries once you get up toward. Hey, Jar, pull the Chesapeake Bay up on Google Earth.
Don't they try to? Are they trying to get the fresh water like trout? Is that what they're doing?
I don't know, Daryl. I don't know about that one, buddy.
They're anadromous like salmon. They spawn in fresh water.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. I thought they did. So they're trying to get the fresh water to spawn.
Yes.
Really?
That's how we found them in Santee, right?
Yes. True.
Or found out they would live in both waters, I should say.
All right. Now I think I got to hit share screen. There you go. Can you see that, Wes?
Yeah. Let's see. Let me enlarge my screen here. Go north. Let's see. There's Chesapeake Bay Bridge. All right, go up. Keep going up.
So what's that large tributary off to the left?
That's you got the York River. That is the Rappahannock River.
Hey, zoom out just a little bit, JR. Zoom out. There you go. Zoom out a little bit more.
Then you got the James River down at the bottom there.
No, go up. Go north. We want to go north.
So they got all kind of stuff they can run into.
Yeah,
stay
on
a lot of them.
JR.
Huh?
Stay on that line right there.
A lot of them are coming in through that C&D canal to get into the Chesapeake Bay. That's why we're not seeing them out there in the ocean. That's one of the reasons, is because they're coming up and going in between
well, I mean, my way of thinking was if you could find out where all these big fish are spawning at, it looks like that'd be
You see right there where it said, see where you're at Baltimore? Just like Chuck said, these fish, they'll go way up past Maryland.
There's the
Delaware River.
That is the Chesapeake Delaware Canal, the C&D
Canal right
Canal.
there. Yeah. See, and then when you get up in here, keep going north and over to your right, JR. See where it's going up through Philadelphia?
Yep.
And then you get on up. See, those fish will go all the way up to the Hudson River.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
See, there's Trenton, New Jersey. No, wait a minute. Zoom in right there, JR.
So where do the fish come in that go to Weldon, JR? I know you know about Weldon.
Yeah. Those are stocked.
I thought you got fish in from the ocean into Weldon, though.
Mm-mm. Well,
I was always told it used to be that. I mean, that's what I always thought was
the Weldon, isn't it near the Dan River? and the Roanoke River and all that.
I don't know. It's Roanoke Rapids, right?
Yeah, yeah. They I'm pretty sure that they stock that, but they actually well, they naturally reproduce there, Daryl. I think that's the only place in the country where they
Maybe
actually.
that's where I was mixed up because I was for some reason I was thinking that I heard when I was younger that they were ocean fish that come in there a certain time of year.
Yeah, that's the only freshwater stripers we have in the entire country that actually have a successful spawn. I want to say
Well, no, they do it in Texoma, right?
Texoma. You talking about in
Yeah,
Texas?
Yeah. So
Hey,
if you
Lee
look up,
Huffman.
that's the reason they get to keep all them fish in Texoma. Whatever river runs out of Oklahoma into Texoma and all that, they
Mm-hmm.
spawn in it. That's the reason they got up them big limits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Lee
I know.
Huffman.
I know. There's two places, Texoma and wherever you're talking about.
Yeah.
Lee Huffman, I want to fish with you. I'm gonna bring my skiff up there. We're gonna go fishing in the tournament. What's up?
If you're gonna fish with Lee, you might as well just fish out of his boat.
Oh, I was just talking shit. But if Lee would send me an invite and ask me real nice, maybe get down on one knee like a proposal, I
don't think Lee is fishing it. I saw a post today. Lee said that he's not gonna fish it. He said they said there's too much drama and tired of people beating on their chest or something like that.
Oh,
and I'm thinking to myself, isn't that what we all do?
Yeah.
If I didn't want to do that, I wouldn't fish it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think that he'll fish it.
I mean, it ain't like all of us, like we said last year, we're not out there fishing for the money. I mean, I want that trophy.
Well, I think the hybrid challenge thing y'all do up there on Norman, that's just for bragging rights. I mean, what was first place? $300 or some shit? $500, whatever it was.
Yep, Scott, you're right. Those eggs have to tumble for 72 hours on average. They can't stop.
Like I said, I looked at the map of what they do in Texoma. It's a long ways that they go to be able for them to fertilize or whatever they do. And once they're laid, sprayed, and then roll.
Well, this SBC this year is really going to be interesting. I think, unless I'm missing my guess from the weather, ours keeps getting worse.
The only thing I say about those is like Joe's up there today in a snowstorm, and it's the best fishing he's had all year long. The best day he's had all year long.
I'm not talking about that kind of fishing in bad weather. I'm talking about trying to get to and from a lake in bad weather.
I'm just saying is if it snows, will the fishing be good down there? That's what I'm asking.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been down there.
Give a crap. If they can get out there and everybody can catch a couple fish, they won't care if they wreck their truck.
Yeah, you're right, Daryl. Stripers in Lake Texoma are considered to have a very successful spawn, making it one of the most prolific striper spawning lakes in the world, often referred to as striper capital of the world due to its large, naturally reproducing population.
So, when you see all those people that's on there every week junking people on the Striped Bass USA, JR, if you follow it, and it's because they got those big lakes. There's a place down there that I follow called Standard Guide Service. And I started watching the guy because he fishes out of a boat just like mine, but it's literally 40 foot. They got a 36 and a 40-foot boat that they'll pile 10 or 12 people on, go out there for 3 hours, and everybody gets their limit. And when they come in, they got 100 fish. I think you can keep certain times of the year, maybe all the time, 10 stripers. And I mean, they try their best. So what they do is, they got a slot and you can only keep one over the maximum. So they are trying to grow some up, but there's too much fish for the amount of bait. So they're trying to get the fish out of it. They're using recreational fishing. If it wasn't for recreational fishing, they say every fish in that lake would be 5 pounds. So it's actually conservation by taking the fish, which no one that doesn't fish understands, but I know you know what I'm talking about. It's pretty cool.
Unfortunately, I think Norman is, it lacks nutrients big time. It's a clear water lake and not a lot of grass, and there's not a lot of bait.
Well, I'll
My
tell you,
understanding is that Texoma will grow them big, like really big, but they just, you just don't catch them. There's so many you can,
How's Lake
Water.
Jordan Lake? How is it there? I know you fished it.
So I have, and Jordan was like when it opened up, like the first 5 years they had those 8-pound largemouth everybody was catching.
Yeah.
Pound and a half crappie
Yeah, because
was
that
it
lake
was
doesn't have spots.
it was just a common thing. And now it's like the heat come off of it and you don't hear that much about it. But I do hear some guys who striper fish it, but I think it had a big kill too. It went through the same thing, is my understanding. Because Smith Mountain, but Smith Mountain is probably made it, because I know two guys there. The guy that I was actually with the bay with fishes it a lot, and it's made a heck of a comeback. I mean, they're keeping a lot of fish out of there because everybody keeps fish, but I mean, the fish are getting better.
Hey, JR, they just changed our weather for here in Anderson again. Read that.
All right, let it focus. Snow, ice expected upstate
And ice.
for the first time in 3 years. Here's when and how much.
What time does it come in though?
Now we're getting ice.
How early though?
Let's see. Light snow is expected to arrive in this area around 9 a.m. and noon on Friday. The snowfall will become heavy and mixed in with ice by Friday afternoon, spreading fast east, and the roads will become hazardous by 1 o'clock. Heavy snow begins to mix in with ice Friday evening, and as accumulation grows, the snow will stick as soon as it hits the ground and become hazardous and most areas impassable. A light wintry mix is possible early Saturday morning. Also, on top of all this, by Saturday morning, the storm has moved out. The sun will come out and temperatures will get above freezing after 11 o'clock.
I got to be gone.
How's these fools going to get to the boat ramp in the morning unless they – and I did see a thing. Somebody – I think they did post it. The anglers that wanted to could come park their boats and leave them at Green Pond under security. There'd be guards there all night so they didn't have to pull a boat.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so that might help too. Anybody that wants to do that. Of course, by the time the tournament's over and the weigh-in, the temperatures is going to start dropping again. Once you
Probably
get
be a
out
good
of
idea to
Green
rent
Pond,
a tractor and have somebody out there putting the boats in.
I think if I had my side-by-side was a little bit bigger, all right, I'd take it down to Green Pond and park it and go down there, drive my truck down there and pull people out of the boat ramp when they slid in.
My little Kubota with that lift and the thing on the back, you can slide them in pretty fast. So I see somebody asked what the prediction was. So last weekend, it was 2 13-pounders won, 26. I think the big fish was 15. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this week will be 31 pounds will probably win it, which will be a big weight for that tournament. But I'd say a 20-pounder and maybe a 10.
Well, that's only 30. Where are you getting that other extra pound at?
Well, I'm just.
I think last year the big fish wasn't it 16 pounds? I might be thinking of the year before last.
The year before last was 16 because we had second big fish. Guess what that paid?
Nothing. I've fished several bass tournaments where I got second big fish. That sucks. You think you got big fish wrapped up, and then here comes.
Unfortunately, we had that one until right before the end, and Brian Bear come in with a 16-pounder. So congrats to him.
I don't even want to hear that name, man.
We don't mention him on here.
We don't even mention that on this show.
I got you.
Fuck him and his mama.
Brandon Scott Jackson said he had 23 pounds and took second place.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that 23 won it. 26 won it, something 25-8, 25-9. Somewhere in there.
Y'all heard that? Follow BSJ's boat. He done found the fish. Yeah, right. There'll probably be 100 boats fishing there.
I know where he's talking. They only 2 creeks. Everybody fishing the SBC. Fucking Big Beaver and Little Beaver.
Everybody gets all tight-lipped when it comes to these tournaments, and you go out there and everybody knows where everybody's fishing. You can see everybody.
What's that other area where everybody was at? There was like 400 people pulling rigs over Conross or something.
Conross too?
Oh yeah, they covered that thing. Somebody thought I think it was the Rick Kane guy, thought he had them nailed down. He got out there and there's about 40 boats in there with him.
My buddy called me about a week ago. I was going to Norman and he said, "Man, I'm gonna tell you where to go, but I already got some inside information. I know where they're at." I said, all right, where? And he said, "You ever heard of Governor's Island?" Yeah,
I knew
I've
you was
heard
gonna
of that.
say Governor's Island or Mountain
Mountain
Creek.
Creek, yeah, all the community spots. Yeah, there's gonna be boats at all those places.
That's
It almost
good.
know,
makes you want to go somewhere where there ain't nobody.
That's what
yeah,
we did last year, but I wish we'd have went on. I don't think anybody went all the way to Davison last year. Do you? I didn't hear about it unless that boat that won. But I heard they were in Stumpy, that the tire people.
Stumpy's got them this time of year, every year. They're
But
usually not
we
as
could
big.
not find a fish in Stumpy Creek. We fished the crap out of it.
Did you go up under the Perth Road Bridge?
I don't remember. I think so. We ended up down there in no man's lands where we finally caught fish. You know where that's at.
Will White said, "I did."
Yeah, Will White done good.
Yeah, Will White fishes hard.
Oh, Will thinks he knows. Will knows a little bit about heating and air conditioning, don't you, Will?
I know that's the first time I met him. He's a nice guy. I look forward to
Yes,
seeing you again, Will.
Will's a good guy.
This is a fishing show, Wes. We don't talk heating and air on here.
Yeah, no HVAC.
You talk about wait till your ship breaks, you'll be talking about it.
I ain't got none.
Nah, Brandon, I'm not fishing. I didn't. I fished a couple of tournaments just to hang out with friends. I don't even think I've ever entered one with my name on the front of it.
I'm entering it with 6-pound line and crappie minnows on wire hooks. Going,
SBC?
I'm gonna troll 0.1.5 miles an hour.
Dude, you're coming down here to fish the SBC. Have you lost your fucking mind?
Who's coming? Who said that?
JR?
Hey, I wonder if they'd let me get it in on my kayak.
I
They'll
guess
let
you get in on anything you want to.
No, you're too late to get on the SBC. If you're
Oh yeah, they have that stupid sign up rule, don't they? Why? I'm with you, Daryl. Get rid of that. Let people come. They'd have so many more boats.
I mean, if you hadn't got enough people to feed, you know what I mean. If you get rid of it, you're either going to have 20 boats, or down there you'd have 100 if it turned out nice.
Exactly.
You know as well that you'd have 100 boats if it was a nice day.
But see,
I don't.
that particular tournament, Daryl, like I said, the weather patterns here, January, first, second week of January, when bad weather hits here, they know that. They know if they wait till 2 days before the tournament to pick one, ain't nobody going to show up. They know that.
But out of all the tournaments, I think they would still come out ahead. I do. I just.
Hey, real quick, the same buddy that told me about Governor's Island, he also said, "I'm gonna tell you what they catching them on now. Don't tell nobody." He said,
"Mussels."
I said, "What?" He said, "Chartreuse swim baits and red jig heads."
Man. Well, Joe, at least he's trying to help you. He thought he was helping you anyway. You got to appreciate the effort.
No, I do. He's a great fisherman, and he just he tells me a lot of stuff that it's kind of community knowledge.
But this big thing with fishing, and I figured this out years ago. Everybody acts like they got to have a secret to keep. Well,
we all wanted a competitive.
And if it ain't a secret, you gotta pose it like you gotta act like it's a secret. Yeah.
Fish have tails. You could catch 100 fish in a spot today, and the motherfuckers be gone tomorrow.
Exactly. Biologists have tagged them. Biologists have tagged them on Norman, and they've went like 250 miles in like a 24-hour period. Like they're nomads.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
there's no rhyme or reason either. They're not like bass where they're relating the structure, or channel bends or brush, current breaks. Like these fish will be stacked up, and they will be absolutely no rhyme or reason why they're even there, and they won't freaking bite.
Harbor is almost like a crappie. When they bite, they all bite, and when one stops, they all stop.
You're right. They do,
They're
and
almost
I think
like a crappie.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
The fish that we found that day at 1 o'clock was the biggest marks. It was like they schooled 20 foot deep underneath of us. I'm telling you, there was fish. I've never seen so many. We had every rod get hit at one time, losing fish. Hadn't had a bite all day long. And we come through that, and I was like, just look at the screen, and it just started popping.
Let me ask you this. Since, I was talking about the dead stick method earlier. What do you think? How do you think anchoring and suspending live baits, how do you think that would do?
I like it, to be honest. I think if, especially JR, if you had any wind, and or any kind of like current moving through there, even if it
Mhm.
was the slightest, or if you were close to where it's pushing it into a bank or a point. I really like that idea.
What happened to doing
we
that? Everybody used to do that back
I was
10,
going to say
15
I
years
fished that
ago.
way. I mean, I fished that way forever.
That's
what
how I
mean.
used to fish. I would, like, especially at night. You could anchor up
Electronics
at
is what
night, put a
happened.
light out, suspend live baits, live
We
hook
all
back
went
in.
electronic crazy, thinking we could find them with them trolling motors and grass instead of sitting and waiting on them.
Yeah,
But
yeah, because you're right. That is right when like the HDS came out.
I'm telling you, that's what happened, because we all sit on
That's when
anchor
it
and waited
started
for.
fading away.
We all sit on anchor and waited for because striper come in waves is what I always described it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It might be 2 hours, but then you get a wave
Exactly.
come
So
through
just
and the bite's
wait on them to
crazy.
come to you.
That's what we always
And
used to do.
no bait's going to move slower than a bait that is suspended on anchor. If you
Hey,
want,
let me ask you this: if you did something like that, do you think it would help?
Hang on.
I mean, I think if you were on a non-productive day where you wasn't out there beating on them, for sure, Wes. I think because you could run around all day and never catch a fish, like we almost done that last tournament. I think we'd have been better off if we'd have started that morning and sit in one spot. I mean, I do. That's like, it really depends on how productive the day is. If you're beating on fish, obviously you got a chance of catching a couple 20 inches, or more. But if the fishing's really, really hard, I would say you'd be better off sitting on anchor.
You think it would be better also, especially with hybrid, is to put you a thumper in the boat if you're gonna set up on a place? Do you think that would help draw them in, or just it wouldn't help until they actually get there before they can hear that thump?
I think thumpers are for aggressive fish that's already going to bite. That draws in more of them. I do.
Well,
believe
here,
that.
let me jog your brain a little bit more, Daryl. You too, Wes. Okay, let's say that I use that technique. I anchor up and I'm suspending live baits. What do you think about dropping a light, but not the typical way you do it, like in the summertime, like when I'm talking about dropping it 30 feet deep to try to get some of that bait that's down there.
So I know for sure that once you get past like 20 some feet, it gets dark.
Right.
That it depends on the day of how far it goes.
Mm-hmm.
But I've asked, why can't we catch the bait that we catch the way we catch it? Which, I mean, we ain't got to hide from it. We sabiki rig. I'm like, if we did that deep, why can't we do that during the day?
Right.
So and then we never tried it, but to your point is, I don't know how much light penetration. So is it still dark down there, or is it somewhat lit?
I think it penetrates
30 foot.
Penetrates up to like 15 foot, and after that it's dark.
So you think at 20 foot it's probably dark?
Yes. Yes.
You can't tell me that a light wouldn't work in. I mean, how would it not?
Exactly. But if there's plankton down there,
fishing like y'all talking about fishing now, well, it probably wouldn't hurt to just, if you got anchor lock on your trolling motor and it ain't too windy, you can pretty much stay in one place. Hell, I do that with my trolling motor.
Well, you can, but I mean, it's so even that, there's different ones that work so much better, but it ain't going to keep you like an anchor.
Right.
Especially it will if you ain't in a lot of wind. I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it's not windy, just hit your anchor lock.
But if you're going to do like he's talking about, if you're going to do what he's going to talk about, I wouldn't want the bait swagging. I'd want it pretty much so fixed.
Then you could chum. Then you own that spot. It's not like trolling where you got, oh man, there's a boat coming. It's should we go this? Trying to stay out everybody's way. You take ownership of that real estate when you anchor up, because you can't move. They have to.
I would sit on anchor, and then out the back, I'd put me one of those big corks, and I'd keep people off the back of me too.
Yeah. Yeah. So not only could you suspend fish, but you could put one on a balloon, send it out, suspending. There's all kinds of things you could do.
But that's how I learned. I was taught a long time ago, when you're pulling, like planer boards, if you want to guard your back to keep people from crossing, run you a big cork out the back.
There you go. And you could, you could cut bait. If you anchored somewhere where you could fish, hit the bottom in an ideal depth, you could cut bait.
How deep water does fish now?
How what?
How deep water is those fish in now when that water's getting
Anywhere they're suspended, probably 30 to 50 foot deep over, 50 plus feet of water, probably.
Where would you want to be to do that, JR? Like 40 foot minimum or 30?
You talking about, no, I would find out where I would go start marking the schools of fish. And if I were marking schools of fish that the majority of the bait and the fish were in, say, 35 feet of water, then I would go try to find something in that depth range.
You know what I'm saying? What would be your minimum? You wouldn't do it in 25, right?
No, probably wouldn't do it in 25 unless
we're thinking
unless it was directly adjacent to some deeper water. Because they could come up. They could be in that deep water, and when they feed, they could come up a little more, more shallow to feed. If you could find 25 foot would work if you was a casting distance from 50 plus 60, 80 feet of water.
Right.
Can you use herring
Yeah.
You can use herring or alewives?
Yep.
Yeah, they're there.
Both.
They're there.
Or thread. They have thread fin too.
Gizzards. We pretty much still got it all up there. Everything but a skipjack. I guess you could use skipjack if you wanted to. I don't think you'd catch much, but you could.
Catfish.
Yeah, but I'm saying I never heard of it being illegal. Some states they don't want you using it.
Right. Like Tennessee, you're not allowed to bring herring.
If I could find somebody to fish with, I might fish it with y'all this year.
Well, it's going to be cold and it's going to be a very slow bite. I can guarantee you those two things.
I hope not, but maybe.
But
I didn't like it because
that's why
even after the catastrophes, it was fun last year. That's a really good group of guys that fish it. So.
That's why they choose to have it that time of year. Is because it's so tough. I mean, it really does make you fish like you've never fished before. You're pulling your hair out. You're going to be more proactive than you ever been. It really does. It forces you to have more patience than you've ever had, because whatever you're trying is not going to be working.
Is Will still on here? Because if he is, tell him to send that sailboat after him again.
Probably, yeah.
Remember the sailboat?
Like Scott Perry told us last year, he said, JR, my best advice for y'all is to find the fish and stay on them. Don't leave. Don't. And we didn't do that. We, me and Spivey were both ADHD. He's worse than I am, and if he's being proactive as hell, running around the boat, just changing depths, just re-rigging, just constantly on the move, doing stuff. And if you hadn't got a bite in 30 minutes, he's like, hey, something's got to give, bud.
That's Todd Asher shit.
We need to do something.
We put 10 rods out, 30 minutes. You ain't got a bite, Toss. Let's get them up. Damn, dude, just wait for no, man. Get them up. They ain't no fish here. We'd have done how to bite.
I don't know if that's the best.
That's the rule.
I don't know if that's the mindset to have this time of year doing this kind of fishing.
That's called the Todd Asher 30-minute rule. You can bet your ass if you were Todd Asher, he ain't gonna sit on a hole over 30 minutes. If he ain't caught a fish, he's gone.
That's the law, isn't it?
In Tennessee, it is.
Again, you can look at the tournament results and you can decide if that's true or not. And I don't think that that's the case, because if you look at the tournament results, you got 50 boats and only 10 of them are coming to the weigh-in with a fish. So
listen, hey, JR, about 4 years ago, shortly after I caught that 52-pounder up there on my stump, I went back 2 weeks later, and Skipper and Hovis and Shane Reel, they went to Middle Tennessee. And I remember Hovis asked me, he said, "You're not going to come up here and follow us?" I said, "Motherfucker, I don't need to follow y'all to catch no fish." I said, "Hell, I just caught one bigger than any of y'all's caught 2 weeks ago." So anyway, yeah. I was going up to my stump and I marked 2 fish just sitting on the bottom. And I was like, well, they're either catfish or striper. And I tied up to the stump. I sat on them fish for 6 fucking hours. And I finally caught one of them, was 43 pounds. And I took a picture of it. I said, "How many of y'all got on the boat, Hovis?" And, I did the self thing where the voice selfie, got back, was holding it up. And I texted myself, "How many of y'all got on the boat, big boy?" And I never got a text back. All I heard was crickets.
But that fish you caught wasn't one of them that you marked, right?
I'm pretty sure they were, because there was bait in there.
That's how you have to trophy fish, though. I believe if you're trophy fishing, you got to have patience. You got to sit it out.
I'll believe till this day I caught one of those 2 fish I marked there.
I ain't
Because they
sitting
were
in
cold
all
water.
night, and I ain't sitting in no 3 hours in one spot nowhere.
Dude, I sit there over 6 hours
I don't
because I
care.
see those 2 fish.
If they were
You-
biting that good, I'd leave them. I'd leave because they were biting that
You
good.
wouldn't be a trophy catfisherman then, because that's what you got to do if you want to catch a big
I
catfish.
definitely am not a trophy catfisherman.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and who knows? One of those fish might have decided to bite and hit like he did because the other one was going to go over there and look at that bait. Caught him on a big old trout head.
Yeah, most people are like, man, let's go where the fish are. And I'm like, when you're trophy catfishing, you don't go where the fish are. There ain't no trophy catfish swimming with them schoolie catfish and little 10-pound, 3-pound channel cats and blues. They're just not in. They're just not in there.
Boy, Dieter Melhorn caught a hog, didn't he?
It's about time. Damn, man, fishes 5,000 hours a year. I can't believe he ain't caught more big fish than what he has.
I hope he's coming to the tournament.
He's not. I've already asked him. He's going to be out of town.
Yeah.
He's got something going on. He ain't gonna be able to. Because
ain't gonna be able to make it.
he was talking about.
Get
I hate
Will
that
White on here
Dieter.
with us for a few minutes. Send Will White an invite before we get off.
I really
wanna
hate
talk
that,
to my
Dieter.
buddy.
Really wanted to see you, old buddy, old pal.
Old chum.
Tell Will White I'm gonna send that sailboat after him. That's what I'm gonna do. I asked you earlier, Joe. You remember the sailboat? Or did it not get?
What's the deal with the sailboat? I missed something.
There was a reckless dude on a sailboat that almost took out probably half of us competing in the hybrid tournament.
Really?
This guy had zero control of this thing. I think he almost run over Will. I think it was Will that he almost hit. And did he about get y'all too?
Not us. I don't
You saw
think.
him though, right?
Yeah.
He was down there in no man's land. I mean, this thing was going where he was with the wind.
He picked a terrible time to go sail down there, didn't he?
He had a terrible time with that thing. He was fighting it, but I think he bumped one boat. But I was thinking it might have been Will, or he almost Will had to run away from him. I may be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure he was one of the ones that was, because we saw a boat. Me and Johnson was sitting in no man's land, and we saw that boat almost take out like 3 of our competitors. It's like, well, the sailboat's in our favor.
I know.
We were at a distance. He didn't really get that close to us.
You send Will an invite?
I did, yes.
David Clubb used to fish that way, anchored on the bank. That's the way
it's no secret fish are more active at night. But do you think they're more active at night in the winter?
I don't know. I ain't never really caught a lot of fish at night, to be honest with you, but I've did a lot more daytime fishing, so I can't speak on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And Anthony Johnson's famous words, night fishing are for people who can't catch them during the day.
Well, wait a minute. Let me take that back. Me and Shane Howerton, the first major trip I had to Tennessee, we went up there to fish 3 days. Our first day out there, we got out there and anchored up about 1 o'clock. And by 4 o'clock that morning, we had caught 23 fish. Nothing. I think one fish was under 30 pounds. That was like the most fucking epic shit I've ever did in my life. And then me and Anthony Finley went back after me and Shane, and we caught 12 in 5 hours. And then I took another guy up there, and he caught a 45, his personal bet. Listen, I wore that stump out, dude. It's a wonder there's even a fucking fish in sight. And Todd Asher said, I've always looked at that spot. He said, I didn't even know you could cut bait over there. I never did see nowhere to tie up. He said, how'd you find that stump? I said, when the water was real low, I just happened to glance and seen how it was hooked, and I could get a rope up under it. And both of those, the way the water was coming on backside of that island and then the main river coming together, you had that big old, what do you call it, JR? Huh? No, where the water's just, it's not where the current's eddy, just like a huge eddy. I said, shit, there's got to be some fish right here. That's how I found it. I found it by accident.
You know, it's funny, Daryl, you said that Anthony said that the people that fish at night can't catch them in the daytime. And the guy that said that, he skunked on keeper fish in that tournament, didn't he?
Yeah. We all did.
Maybe he should start fishing at night.
They won't let us tournament fish at night.
Yeah, I saw where on Facebook he got him a heater installed.
Yeah, he got us a heater. No, that's
Man,
for
that's
us.
gonna be nice, dude. That looks like that thing's gonna be pumping out some heat.
I'm gonna bear hug that rest. That's on my side of the boat too.
Let me see if I can find that video.
Dude, those things run literally like 10 hours on like 1.1 gallon of diesel. I bought me one. I hadn't hooked mine up yet, but I was gonna set mine in my shop.
Here we
Was
go.
it they're just setting the floor?
Yeah, it's just a diesel heater, but for some reason, I guess they're like for remote stuff, Wes, they run off 12 volt. So people are putting them in their shops and run them on converters or just run the battery charger to a 12 volt battery, and it runs on diesel fuel. So you can run diesel or kerosene in it, and it exhausts out the back. You look them up, it's a Vevor heater. They had them during the Black Friday for less than $100, and the things are nice.
Damn.
I hadn't saw a single soul who don't like them.
Don't ever call me on speakerphone neither. Look at that, boy.
What's up?
Yeah, that's some 3D engineering right there.
Ain't it? You gotta work gutters and stuff like that to be able to come up with that kind of right there.
Where's it blowing the heat at?
Look at that.
Sexy.
See the hose?
Oh yeah.
The console.
No more cold mornings for me.
Oh, that's
Just that one vent?
So he done a video today, and he told me that he didn't have it all in the video, but it got to 190 degrees coming out of it.
Just that one vent though?
Yeah, it's just it's a single exhaust and a single. I mean, he could rig it up to other vents, but that's like a
Is that
3 or
that
4 inch.
diesel heater off TikTok shop?
That's it.
Did he get it off TikTok shop? Daryl?
Hell yeah.
Yes, I did.
Did he?
I ordered mine off Amazon because whatever's on TikTok shop, you can get on Amazon and you can return
Right.
it if you buy it on Amazon.
No.
If you order
I
it on
bought mine.
TikTok shop, it'll take a year to get here too.
Yeah, no, I ordered mine on Amazon. I got it in 3 days. It's the same one, a Vevor. I had it Black Friday for $97. You either get the skinny one or you can get the wide one. Anthony went with the. There's not a lot of difference, but they said the wider one would be a little more stable. They're basically the same one. You run them on a remote control, JR. You can turn them up and down.
So does it sound like a generator? Is it loud?
No, I heard that like if you were right on top of it, but Anthony said his like, where you put it out on the front,
Yeah.
he said you don't even hear it. He said it's not loud like if you're outdoors.
Okay.
I have heard some people say something about it making noise, like you might want to play the radio if you're in the shop, but he said it wouldn't sound any louder than like a wood stove breathing.
Okay.
It's going to have some noise to it, yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, Will White?
It's a little diesel motor.
Another day in paradise, man.
Hey,
What's
Will,
happening, Will?
Got a quick question for you while you're on here.
What's up?
Have you installed any of the new R454B units yet, or the 3032?
I've done the 32.
You like it?
Oh yeah, it works pretty good. Got to purge the nitrogen though. I know I feel the same way, but it definitely you can tell the difference on this stuff.
Oh, y'all can do a HVAC show
Yeah.
if you want.
Have y'all been fishing up on Norman?
This is a fishing show.
Mind your business.
I haven't, Will.
Norman is. I'm just hoping for some good weather, man. I'm hoping the water stays clear. Hoping we get some good cloud cover, and I hope that more than 10 boats catch fish.
I hope
you
it goes as shit. I hope it's the sunniest day ever. The water's probably a little muddy. Make everybody have to fight for it.
Well, we're already going to have to fight for it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely gonna be tough, man. I haven't been fishing up there all since it's gotten cold. I need to go.
I went fishing. What is that? Down around Governor's Island, where you go under that bridge, and it's like you're going into like a whole nother lake.
Oh, like the backside of Governor's?
Yeah, I wonder if there's any fish up in there.
Man, that's hit or miss.
Is it?
Very hit or miss.
See if I can pull it up here.
If that's a fishy area, it's worth looking. But like, if there's nothing going on down there, you might as well not even waste your time.
I wonder when it was muddy last year why nobody tried to go all the way up to Davidson, just because it's too far.
I went up to Davison. There's nothing there.
Yeah, I
There's just
wondered
dead
about that.
lake. I've tried going every time it's tough up there. I always go to Davison because, like, bass fishing, you can always go to Davison and pull a bag out of there.
Did
You
the
get
water
on
clear up
good.
any that day though?
Yeah, a little bit, man. I'll tell you, I think everybody caught their fish in that tournament before 11 o'clock.
We caught all ours after 11.
Oh hell, I
And we didn't.
never got a bite after
We
9:30.
never. Obviously, we didn't get any keepers, but we caught a dozen fish from 1 o'clock to Clinton Town.
Damn, y'all are on them, man.
We had one school that looked like the fish were in 20 foot of water schooling underneath of us. It was the best marks I ever seen. They were like thousands. We had every rod go off.
Yeah, hell.
It
Hell,
was. It
dude,
was.
what was that, 2, 3 weeks ago? Me and Pete were down at Watery. It was like that. I mean, it looked like some stuff you see on the internet. It was crazy.
Yeah,
Textbook.
that's. I looked at this one, and about the time I got it out of my mouth for Anthony to look at the graph, everything started popping. It was like
Oh, that's where you want to be.
when I first saw it, I just assumed because we had saw some marks, but I thought it was white bass. You know what I mean? That was my
Right.
first thought.
That's what
It was,
Pete kept saying. I kept driving over that shit at Watery. I was like, what do you think? He's like, I'm thinking that's perch or something. And then next, every rod went off. I'm like, oh, it's
I'd like to
not
go to the very
perch.
back of Davidson Creek, go all the way up to the back of it, and where that bridge is before you get to 77, and you got some riprap
Mhm.
around that. Looks like that might be a decent place to try early.
And I've gone up there looking before. Man, that lake's like just so tough because the stuff you think looks good, there's nothing on it. And
Yeah,
then out in no man's land, the fish are biting.
yeah, no rhyme or reason.
I mean, yeah, I mean, the
there was
dude
no
that won
reason.
the tournament was literally right next to me all day in the middle of the lake, like no structure, no bottom, just like, I mean, out in like 70 foot of water, and he was whacking them.
We caught our fish in 50 feet there, and I'm telling you, there wasn't nothing around there. I mean, we were off of but it wasn't even a point. It didn't make any
All right,
point out of the water. I mean, we wasn't a long ways, 150 yards from the shore, but it was, you know where I was at, the back of,
right. I
you
mean,
know
dude,
where
right off
we're
the
sitting.
tip of the Governor's Island one time, I mean, I caught like 5 fish, all off like a double.
But I'm
And
telling you, all like to your point, all the bottom looked exactly the same. There was
right,
nothing there that should have
nothing
held fish.
special. Nothing you stop and be like, man, I'm a fish here. This looks good. I don't know. I caught him like that one day, just out in the middle of the lake, 60 foot of water, and it just went off. Like every time I drove around it out there, I'd catch one.
The only reason we was even over there, Anthony probably killed me, but it don't make it matter. I don't care. Was because somebody had been going out there fishing in the evenings, and the fish had been schooling just before dark. And of course, I told him, I said, it ain't going to happen. He said, well, if they school right at dark, they got to be around here somewhere. And they
Mhm.
No,
were.
that's true.
They had been schooling, and I guess that was the fish that actually come in there. But they had been busting the top of the water, and the guy had been catching a lot of them, right at dark 30.
Who was the guy?
I don't know. Somebody answered. It's one of his customers, I think, that
Oh,
comes
okay.
in. That comes in. I mean, when I say customer, I think up at the store.
Yeah.
Somebody told him
Hmm.
about it.
All right. Well, I hate
I
that.
hope there's some decent fishing up there this year. I hope so.
I hate that Wes invited you right when I'm getting ready to hop off here.
Oh no, you're good, man.
Don't start that shit.
It is 9:30. I just noticed that.
Yeah, 5 o'clock comes early, Wes. You'll be
He wouldn't.
snoring. You'll be cuddled up to Lori and Copper at 5:30. 5
Hey,
o'clock.
I won't. I know I won't be up too early.
You gonna go fishing in the snow, Will?
Oh yeah, I'll be up there for sure,
For real?
100%.
Heck
Yeah, I'll definitely. If I ain't working, I'm going up there.
You aren't in the striped bass challenge?
Man, I thought about joining it, but man, their schedule's so funky, and then like they make you commit to it. Like, I mean, that one time they had it, like I was ready to drive down there and just sign my name on a sheet of paper, but I
I know
called
he's
Pete.
on
I was
there.
like, I'm
That's
about
what
to
we was
come
talking
down
about
there.
earlier.
And he's like, you can't sign up. You gotta fish, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, that's so fucking stupid.
yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about earlier. I mean,
You
yeah,
know how
they
many
would.
more boats they would get? Just like those guys are just like last minute, hey man, you want to go do this tournament?
Mhm.
You know as well as I do. If you happen to catch a good day, every one of those tournaments would have 100 boats in them.
Oh, 100%. Everybody and their mother would be out there. But I mean, I don't know.
Daryl, try to log back out and come back in. We lost you. I think Daryl's got to be at like a certain place in his house or something.
Oh, jeez.
Who you calling, Wes?
Uh-huh.
Who you calling?
I ain't calling nobody.
Oh,
You checking his money machine.
No, I was actually looking at a check this lady wrote me today, make sure she had the right date on it.
Man, I went down there and did some work. That job I was telling you about. Dude, that hurricane, I mean, it's crazy. You get off the interstate and like one street, everything's nice, and then the next street, it's like a bulldozer came through there
It
and
tore
just-
some shit up down here, didn't it?
Dude, we pulled in at my buddy's house, and his mom lives in a big double wide on a bunch of land down there. And every tree that was in 50 foot of their house is laying on the ground, and not one hit the house. I was like,
Yep.
that is the craziest thing ever.
mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. That was nuts. Super crazy.
I swear I want to try some Main Lake points come tournament day. I feel like these fish are gonna. I feel like they're going to come up a little more shallow. You know, we're marking them deep, but if I think maybe first thing in the morning, like right at blast off, if you could just go find it, try to find some 10 to 20 foot deep water off some Main Lake points. I think maybe you could snag a couple, maybe.
Right. Man, I always wondered if you went through there like high speed wahoo trolling, just bumped it up as fast as you could go, or you felt like you'd get bit and just covered some ground. Troll from the boat ramp to the dam.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, I was talking to Pete about that the other day, and he said he caught one. I think I asked that question on that group, and he said he caught one going like 6.5 miles an hour or something.
Right.
Yeah, I mean they can. I'm not sure what the top speed of a hybrid is, but I'm sure you could probably go up to at least 10 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I'm sure they
I
can.
mean,
They
it'd
can,
have to be a hammer if he eats it at 6.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think it'd be a good fish.
Yep. Nobody. I don't think anybody really tries that.
No.
But you know,
No.
I've caught bass like throw it out. And I didn't cast it where I wanted to cast it, and I'll burn it back in as fast as I can. You know, and it triggers a bite.
Oh, let's go experiment one day. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Why not?
Well, now, where do you live at? What part of North Carolina are you in?
Like Huntersville.
How far are you from JR?
I don't think.
Oh,
Where do you live at?
Huntersville. I'm South Gastonia, so it was probably
Oh, not too far.
Huntersville,
That's not far.
35 minutes, maybe 40 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not
Huntersville, isn't that
terrible.
like that's near Pineville, right?
No, I'm near like Mount Holly Huntersville Road and
Okay, yeah, it's
W.T. Harris and all that.
20 minutes, yeah.
So
Yeah,
you're not
it's just
fishing
not far.
FBC, Will?
Man, I want to, but I don't think so. It's too late, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's going to fish the HSBC.
Yeah, whatever that is, I'll be there.
I'm gonna be the weighmaster again.
Yeah, I'll be there for that.
Heck yeah, man. I think you did a good job, Wes. Hopefully nobody tries to cheat this year.
we should pass out measurements so everybody knows what it is. Do not use one of these.
You're not
Use one
building
of
a house.
these.
You're not building a house.
Yeah, you're not building a house.
Yeah, no Lufkins.
Yeah, no rollout tape measures allowed. If that was the case, we all had some hammers.
Hey, let me tell y'all a little secret. The reason Daryl got off here, it was kind of my fault. I forgot that he was on his phone, but I've got an app on my phone, and I can call any number I want and make any number I want come up in that phone.
Mhm.
And boy, I had Anthony Johnson fired up yesterday. I'd call Anthony and make Daryl's number come up in it. Then I'd call Daryl, make Todd Asher. I just called Daryl, made Todd Asher's number come up in it. He just texted me. He said, "Goddamn, you got me again." See, look.
I heard his phone ring.
Yeah, I was wondering what that was.
Stupid.
Cut everything off with your call. Well, come back on here, Daryl.
That's funny as hell.
Mischievous.
Yeah, hey, y'all hold on a minute. Hey, watch this shit. Let's see. Hold on, you gonna like
that's
this.
hilarious.
You gonna like this, Will. Hold on a minute. You're not on your phone, or you will?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on his phone. It's gonna
Okay,
mess
it
him
don't
up.
matter.
Don't do it.
Yours ain't gonna ring. Okay, Will, what's your phone number?
704
704
622
622.
1473.
Okay, JR, what's your phone number?
704
Okay.
733
Okay.
7928.
Do you have Will's number in your contacts?
I'm just gonna warn you, if you knock us off, then I'm not
no, it
getting back
won't
on.
knock you off. If you're not on your phone, it won't.
No, I'm not on my phone.
Okay. Do you have Will's number in your contacts?
I don't think so. Mm-mm.
Well, tell me what number comes up in your phone here in a minute.
Okay.
If it's in your contacts, it'll come up as Will White, or however you got that number in your contacts.
I just always call Will on Messenger.
Yeah.
Tell me what number's coming up, Will.
622-1473.
Show it
Man,
on
that's
screen. Show it to
crazy.
Will.
Holy cow, dude. That's wild.
Huh.
What? Holy hell, that's crazy. You
Yeah,
really
you can mess
fuck
with some people, man. Yeah, that's
Hey,
that could be
listen,
dangerous.
hey, Lori was having surgery a couple of years ago, so I got bored in the waiting room. So I got all my friends' numbers on the chain gang. You remember that, baby?
Yes, I do.
I got all their numbers, and I had Daniel Skipper and Chris Hovis wanting to fight each other. Then I had T calling Patrick, and I had Patrick calling Scott, and I had Scott calling Brady Milford. Then I had Brady Milford calling Daniel Skipper, and then I had Hovis calling Skipper. And every time Hovis called Skipper, I'd hang up. And then Daniel answered the
That
phone
is
one time. He said,
hilarious.
"Say something, motherfucker! I ain't answering the goddamn phone no more."
All right, guys.
Oh my God.
You ready to call it, Wes?
No, hold on, one more thing.
One more
So
thing.
we were fishing, right? And I told Michael Walker, me and Todd Asher, Michael Walker, and who else was with us, baby? Somebody else was on the boat with us, wasn't he? No, it wasn't Tony. But anyway, I was telling Michael about that app. So, no, it wasn't Patrick. So anyway, he calls Drew Rankin. And Drew was thinking about buying a jet boat from Jeff Peel. Jeff Peel knew where a jet boat was. So he fake called and he made Jeff Peel's number come up in his phone. I was talking to Drew Rankin. Now you can imagine how this is going to go. Well,
Lord.
Walker was trying to throw his voice a little bit. Yeah, well, it was on Todd's boat. Well, anyway, when Drew answered the phone, he said, "What's up?" And Michael said, "Man," he said, "but he thinks it's Jeff Peel because I gave him Jeff Peel's number. Jeff Peel's number come up on his phone." He said, "That boy dropped that airboat off at my house." And Jeff said, "God damn, what's wrong with your voice?" he said, "Oh man, I got a little cold right here." So I'm talking. Jeff said, "You sound like you need to lay the fuck down." And Drew told him, he said, "You sound like you need to lay the fuck down." He said, "Well, listen," he said, "I got that boat if you still want it." And Drew said, "Yeah, I want it." He said, "Well, come on and get it." And they hung up. And I said, "Dude," I said, "Where was Drew at?" He said, "He's at home." I said, "You got him fixing to drive all the way to Jeff Peel's house?" He said, "Fuck it, he'll be all right." Dude, about 2 hours later, Drew really called Jeff to tell him he was on his way. Jeff didn't have a clue what he was talking about, and they got in a big argument.
Damn, Wes.
Oh,
Dude,
Jesus.
that's just hilarious.
Christ.
That's a dangerous app.
All right. Well, we will see you
Oh,
guys. I guess the
God.
next time I see you two will be the HSBC.
Yeah.
You don't want to do another show before then?
Well, we might. I don't know. I'm on the free trial. I canceled my StreamYard subscription. I had to get on free trial to do this one. So I think you can do a show. I think they charge you like $1 if you want like high definition and multiple streaming.
Well, JR, I set a room up. It let me set the room up. But when I go to invite somebody, it just keeps saying error. Please try again. It will not let me invite nobody if I do it from my account.
Huh.
And I don't know why. I said, the hell with it. I just wait and let you make a room.
All right, boys. We'll see y'all.
All right, man.
Good
I'll
night,
see
everybody.
y'all.
Well, it's good to see you again, brother.
All right,
JR,
you too, buddy.
see y'all.
I'll see y'all.